So, what are we going to be talking about next, bro?
What we're going to be talking about is a pretty big disappointment to boxing fans, and I'll tell you, is Friday night communications for the super fight between Canelo Alvarez and Miguel Cotto were broken down. Both fighters look to be probably looking for other opponents in their schedule in 2015. Huge disappointment. Other than the Holy Grail, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, this is the fight that all boxing fans wanted to see. It looked like we'd be getting a deal done for the first part of 2015. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that happen. What do you think about this one, Show?
Honestly, it's very disappointing. I mean, it was going to set up, like, 2015 was going to be, I feel, one of the years that might bring boxing back with, you know, Mayweather, and then
the NBC deal is still in place.
And then,
this was supposed to be a big part of this, with Canelo going to HBO.
Exactly. So I could see maybe them just kind of arguing about, I guess, the split or however they want.
The beer sponsor, I know, was an issue. The gloves, everything seems to be an issue when you have two big divas competing in negotiations.
Yeah, it's like whose thing is bigger. You know what I mean? It's a swinging match.
There you go. And on that same token, though, when we're talking about Golden Boy, they have a huge acquisition that might be looking at as an opponent for Canelo Alvarez, hopefully in 2015. Yes. I love it. Do you want to talk a bit about Canadian murderous puncher David Lemieux?
David Lemieux, man, he is a bad man. Like, when you're thinking of bad men, he is a bad man. Like, young fighter,
25 years old,
vicious puncher,
31-2, 33-2, 31 knockouts.
Moves around. I love his head movement. Reminds me of kind of a pretty boy Tyson type of fighter. Like, let me make that clear. I don't think, you know, you can find a Mike Tyson fighter, but I mean, if you were to build someone like Mike Tyson,
that's 160 pounds,
it would be,
that speaks French.
Exactly. Mario Lemieux. He is
Mario Lemieux. Some of you are watching some Pittsburgh Penguins, baby.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
There we are. Some old school Penguins.
Some David Lemieux.
And if you aren't familiar with the rise of David Lemieux or what happened with him in the past, I'll give you a very short history. He was a guy that was coming up, went pro at 18 years old, was knocking out everyone in Canada. He was doing that at the Montreal Casino. They were putting on, I think, semi-monthly or monthly shows that were aired on French CBC television. He got viewed to Canada everywhere. He built a very big following here in Canada. We are here based in Vancouver. He built the following on the East Coast in Quebec, and even to a degree Ontario, he had a bit of a fan base there as well.
So like a Pascal type of, like,
same type of following. Yeah, he was ended up selling out arenas against fringe contenders. He was knocking them out. And I remember Donnie McCrary was on that list, Wally Schmichette, guys like that. As I said, fringe contenders. And he ran into a guy named Marco Antonio Rubio that you're all familiar with, recent Golovkin victim, I'm going to say. And everything was going well for him. He had an ESPN Friday Night Fight set up with him, and that was supposed to turn into a long-term HBO contract at 22 years old, undefeated, all wins by knockout other than one, which was a 10-round decision against hard chin Jason Noller. And so there you have it. This is what happened. He got stopped in the 7th round. He was winning every round until then, but he wasn't dropping his opponent. Seemed to run out of steam, and Russ Amber stopped the fight, his coach at the time and mentor. Since then, he has a new team, now new management. It's taken him 3 years to rebuild to where he was now at 25. He had one loss following that to Georgie Alcine after Rubio. Since then, all knockouts in his victories, been very impressive. Worked his way up past fringe contender and beat Fernando Guerrero and Gabriel Rosado in his last 2 fights. Ferocious highlight reel knockouts. This is a fighter you don't want to miss. This is a can't miss. This is appointment television when he's on TV.
Pay-per-view. I'll pay to view this guy.
He is a guy that you will pay your good money to see. And that's why I'm super excited for him to be going to Golden Boy, because you can see him getting matched up with, hopefully, the Canelos. That's a fight I want to see built in the next few years. Or, if Golden Boy wants to protect their investment with Canelo, then you'll be seeing him, hopefully, against, crossing our fingers here, Gennady Golovkin. That's the war at middleweight. That's the fight we all want to see. That's the fight I want to see, at least. I'm hoping we all want to see it, because that is just fireworks.
If you don't want to see it, you haven't watched enough David Lemieux.
Or you don't know boxing.
Exactly.
That is going to be, whether it lasts 2 rounds, 12 rounds, that'll be an incredible fight for as long as it lasts. Fireworks. And potentially Golden Boy would be not as apprehensive to pull the trigger on that big fight, because it would be protecting their investment in Canelo Alvarez. So will Canelo Alvarez. And he'd be able to, hopefully, when the dust settles, I think their hope would be neither fighter would be exactly what they were before that, which is not unreasonable to think with 2 absolutely murderous punchers getting in the ring with each other. Maybe he fights the winner hoping that they weren't what they were. Even still, that'd be a great fight. Hopefully, on the flip side, I want to see Canelo with either of these two, because Miguel Cotto, the lineal middleweight champion, is put on the sidelights in this issue.
Yes.
On the same token, what do you think happens with Cotto?
Honestly, this kind of puts him at an awkward position. I feel like then he has to kind of try to hopefully pray and hope to someone or whoever he wants to try to fish for the Mayweather fight.
That is the first note that I would like to say, is that I know that this definitely frees him up and potentially frees up Mayweather should communications break down. God, we hope not, because we just lost this fight.
Please.
If the communications break down between Pacquiao and Mayweather, which we've seen a million times over the last 7 years, then we may be seeing Cotto and Mayweather 2. And the only way I would be willing to buy that fight is Mayweather goes up to 160 and actually does try and win the lineal Bernard Hopkins 160-pound title. The guy who beat the guy who beat the guy who beat the guy. I would respect that as a challenge to him if he doesn't want a Manny Pacquiao fight. If not, I don't know what fight he can look for, other than potentially maybe Canelo is trying to really get his claws in on another Mayweather rematch as well. That could be what he's looking at. I don't see that happening either, because he's going up in weight.
But for the Mayweather fight, I don't think Mayweather has to go up 160, because he went up last time. Didn't they fight at 154? 154. So that's pretty big for Mayweather already. So I think they just fight the same way they fought last time, because he did probably, besides recent Marcos Maidana, he did give Mayweather some trouble in that fight. So it could sell. I think in my opinion it'd be more competitive fight than the fight that everybody wants to see, Pacquiao and Mayweather.
And that still remains to be seen. However, big disappointment, but hopefully some optimism with David Lemieux signing with Golden Boy Promotions. Mayweather looking at new opponents, including Manny Pacquiao, but also now Cotto and Canelo would have to be getting in the mix, which are legitimate opponents. It's not an Amir Khan.
Yeah.
So that leaves me smiling, thinking at least, hey, we're going to get a decent Mayweather fight if he does the right thing in these fights as well. In the promotion, in the signing, going up to 160 for Cotto, winning the lineal title, or just fighting Manny Pacquiao, which is the fight that we've all wanted to see for 7 years. Anyway, that's what we have for news on Ringside Report for this week.